Greetings and welcome to Chaplains Chat. My name is Charlie Wharton. I'm a chaplain with St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office.
And I'm Larry Crabtree, chaplain with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office and the Maryland State Police.
Well, we have talked about a lot of things over the last several weeks, but one thing that's been conspicuously absent is a discussion of chaplaincy.
We have not talked about that. What is a chaplain? What do we do? I think it's a good topic.
I do too. We've been so blessed to be able to do this, and we want to share maybe a little bit of our story, but more importantly, how this is maybe impact the agencies that we work for as well as our ministry.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of people, when they see some of our chaplains chats, they have no idea what a chaplain is or what a chaplain does. I think a lot of law enforcement officers also don't really know. They know they have a chaplain, but they don't know really what does that chaplain there for? What do they do? So I think this might be really beneficial.
And there may be somebody out there that is interested in doing this, and they want a little bit of background from somebody that's been around the block a time or two, or a few times around the block. And
I had more hair when I started.
I had less other things when I started too. But, and so we just want to give you a little bit of an overview of where we've come from and really the impact that it's had on us.
Yeah. So Charlie, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
Right? So how did you get into this whole chaplaincy thing?
Mine started really as kind of an inheritance from my dad. My dad was a minister, and he began working in law enforcement chaplaincy back in the late 80s and early 90s. And I think that grew out of a situation that we had when I was a kid. Our family was involved in quite a tragedy when we were children. And my dad worked through that. And I think it gave him the ability to work in crisis. And so, as a part of his ministry, he got started in chaplaincy, and that just was kind of passed down to me. And so, in 1995, kind of in the midst of a teenage suicide cluster that was going on in the community that we were working in, it opened the door for me to become involved in chaplaincy in Pierce, South Dakota. So it's been a little over 25 years, and it just keeps going. How about you? How did you get started?
Well, I beat you by a year. I actually started this in 1994, and it came about because I was serving in a church just outside the city of Philadelphia in the suburbs. And the regional police department there decided they were going to begin a chaplaincy program in 1994. And that was really, I think, the beginning years of when chaplaincy became pretty common within police work. And so as they thought this would be a good idea, they sent letters out to all the community pastors and said, hey, we'd like to begin a chaplaincy program. Would you be interested in serving as a chaplain? I got that letter, I read it, and I thought, wow, never considered this. I don't know really anything about law enforcement. Maybe this is something I could do. It was a little scary because I didn't know anything about it, but I did respond saying I'm willing. A couple weeks later, heard back from the chief of police, and he said, hey, thanks for letting us know your interest. We'd love to have you as a chaplain. You're the only one that volunteered. So I wish I could tell you it was because my profuse talents. It wasn't that in any way whatsoever. I was an available body. And so here 27 plus years later, I'm a chaplain of law enforcement and loving it.
You know, one thing that I think is so important when we kind of came of age in chaplaincy, it was also during that, maybe the golden era of community policing. And I think that we both shared and we both benefited from that approach. Bring in another type of influence into our law enforcement agencies, and it's going to make everybody better because of it.
And I believe that's very true. I think it did. I know it certainly impacted my ministry. It broadened it. So instead of my focus being on my church and my local community, it went into the county that I was serving. And in that way, I began to really see the real hurts that were out there. And it made me softer towards the needs of the community. It really gave me a heart for law enforcement because their lives are very unique. Their pressures and stresses are unique that most people really don't understand. And it just really kind of honed me to think I'm very sensitive to those needs. It really is important, and they're important to me.
I think it's an interesting mix, but I think it's a very important mix that agencies and also that churches can provide to the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Charlie, we're going to take a number of segments to talk more about chaplaincy. maybe answering some folks' questions or helping people to get to know us better and the work that we do. But running out of time right now. So until next time, be strong
And be safe.